And we're here with a very special guest. Pleased to have here with me, Vina Love.
Hello, hi. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm well.
Quite a lot of great work in music. Recently dropped NFS, but I know that just the other day you released a brand new single called Options.
So Options is one of my babies. I made Option, I want to say 2017, 2018. And I was just trying to figure out, what I wanted to sound like. And it was just so much music and I was just having a hard time organizing stuff and putting it out. But Options was the song that we ended up going with. It was supposed to be something really quick, but I thought about how much I love this song and how relatable I feel it is. So I went and wrote a 3-part story to give a little bit more. It's explaining okay, is she dating this person? Is she not dating? Is she just what is really going on? So when you watch the 3 episodes, you really get to see what I mean. And then the video just tops it off and makes it a little vibe. I'm really, really proud of it.
Yeah, so you talk about Options. And I know that prior to Options, you released NFS.
That's a tough one because when you listen to both songs, if you were to listen to them back to back, they kind of go hand in hand. It's NFS is saying listen, I'm gonna do what it is that I want to do. I think lyrically it's very much in the same bracket. I think the contrast would be vocally, obviously, because Options was made so many years ago and NFS was made recently. There's a lot of contrast. NFS is a freestyle. Options is an actual song. And I think with Options, I had more of a foundation of what I wanted it to be. I really wanted it to be an actual song. With NFS, it was more so upset and I got in the booth and I was saying what I need to say. But they definitely do go hand in hand if you listen to them back to back.
So as I mentioned before, you've been having quite the success in music in your career, but you've also got a lot of other talents as well. Let's go back to the early stages of your career. I know that your first performance was when you were 7 at Radio City Music Hall.
Well, actually, my first performance ever in life, I was probably around 3 years old. So I've been on stage since I was 3, but I wasn't a singer yet, trained dancer. When I turned 7, I remember it was actually my birthday. I remember what I wore and everything. It's crazy. I remember that day vividly. My 7th birthday and my dad was DJing. And I just remember running on stage to just dance. I never had the stage fright thing. I was never afraid of big crowds. So I didn't even think about that part. I just wanted to dance. That's what I remember the most. And I remember my dad was playing a song I really liked. Yeah, it was just easy and carefree. But when I'm in the studio and when I'm on stage, I have that feeling. I don't really care what's going on. I just know I'm good at this, so I'm going to do this.
Who have been some of your inspirations in music?
In terms of work ethic, definitely my father on tour. I remember he would go on tour for a year straight and come home in between. So to see him be so dedicated and no, this is what I want for my life. I definitely, that's big for me. That was a big example for me because that's how I am. Work first and we'll do everything else after. Vocally and lyrically, definitely Mary J. Blige, Faith Evans, Jill Scott, Solange, Delphonics, even groups. I'm really into harmonizing and melody, the vocals. I feel I be talking and people don't know what I'm saying, so I try to be very specific. Harmonies are my stacks and stuff. When you listen to groups, you can hear everybody who has their part and they sing their part. I want to be able to sing all the parts. I love to listen to groups and just hear how they make the vocals mix together. I would say my influences would be more so genres. Genres and times of music. Remember when Michael Jackson was in his pop prime? I love music like that. That's an inspiration to me because that's the music that makes you move. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Z100 song, but it still gives you that, that little bop. Music from the 60s where it was all about love and just trying to win that person and come let me love you. The 90s when you have that I don't care, that Mary J. Blige, All I Need, Method Man vibe. That's me.
As I mentioned before, you've done quite a lot in your career. Talk about, giving back to the community.
I'm from Harlem, New York, so you get to see the best of both worlds. I'm from New York, so you get to see the luxury. You drive down Fifth Avenue, you see all the rich people, all the good stores, all the healthy stuff. And then you come uptown, you come to Harlem, and you see we still fly. There are underprivileged people as well as children. There are mentally ill people who need help, who can't help themselves. My grandmother always kept me at after school. She was always working at it after school. She was always adopting children. She was always helping. I think it's absolutely necessary for the people who are in, some type of social power to bring light to a lot of things. I am very big on giving back. And last summer, Fergie Baby, who was also a rapper, we did a give back event. We gave away clothes, we gave away shoes, books, toys, haircuts, food, all kind of stuff. I encourage everyone to give back.
What is your take on being from Harlem and the music scene?
We getting there. We're getting there. I think New York music, just in itself, I think we're doing a lot of things right now. We got a lot of different artists. You got the drill scene right now. You got everybody. Then you got Uptown going crazy with Capella Gray, ATF. Then you got Girl Code going crazy from Brooklyn as well. Lola Brooke. You got Billy B. You got Connie Diamond. You got Big Zen. It's so many people. Then you got Cash Cobain, who's going crazy as well. Dizzy Banko, who's a producer, who's going crazy also. Fergie Baby from Harlem. Me from Harlem. You got 27 Deli. It's so many people. And we all do different things. That's what makes it so fire. It's like everybody got their own vibe. And we didn't have that for a long time. Like we had a bunch of nonsense. We was just trying to figure it out. And I think we're finally I think we're heading in a wonderful, wonderful direction in due time.
You mentioned about kicking the door open on Love and Hip Hop New York.
Growing Up Hip Hop was, it was dope. It's you got Love and Hip Hop, then you have Growing Up Hip Hop. So it's like, it's a little similar. And it's about celebrities' children. With my dad being Kid Capri, it was dope for us to be able to go in there and just, experience it. There's certain things that I feel like I'm an artist first before anything, and my career comes before anything. So when the cameras go off and the drama's done and everything, whatever I did there is going to just seep over to my career. So I had to be very just other ways of thinking and other ways of doing things. I'm from Harlem, so I have a certain energy about me and certain things I allow and don't allow. So it's hard to not react to everything. So I will not be on reality TV anymore. It wasn't a terrible experience, but some things are just for certain people, and that's not for me.
How did you start your own record label on More Love Records?
I just always had this thing about, and because I'm so hands-on with everything, my credit. And I feel as though if I'm releasing a bunch of music, it should be on my terms, under my music. I should be able to own it. I shouldn't have to fight with anyone or anybody about nothing, because it's mine. I worked hard for it. So that's where starting the label came from. Like, no matter what happens, this belongs to me. I own my stuff. I wasn't like, oh, I want to sign a bunch of artists. That wasn't initially like the thought. It was just like, all right, I want to be the biggest artist on my label as of right now. I want to learn all the in and outs. I want to know what it means to manage an artist, do PR for an artist. Like, I want to learn all of that, because I never want to give. I want to be able to say, hey, come with me, and I know what I'm talking about. I feel like when artists sign to other artists, it's a little weird, because like, what does the artist really know for real? They really just know how to be an artist. Like, I want to know everything that needs to be known, and I want to be able to pass it down to another artist who is just as determined. But initially it started off as like, I just want to be able to own my stuff, and I want to be able to walk in the room and say, I'm a CEO just like the rest of you men. Y'all CEOs, y'all own this, so do I.
Well, besides being a music artist, actress, dancer, director, choreographer, songwriter, which do you prefer? And if your career was in the music, do you think you probably would have done something still in music?
If I wasn't doing music, I'd actually be in school. I'd be right in Stanford for law. That's what I was initially going to school for. I was in love with music too at the same time. So I took a break off from school for it. After I graduated high school, I took off a year. I went to a conservatory, performing arts, and it was more so like Broadway stuff. Like, you really get to learn the technical parts of things, like speech and like your breathing, singing, dancing, acting at the same time on stage, all that kind of stuff. So that right there let me know that I would never be a musical teacher. But yeah, if I wasn't making music, I think I'd be in Stanford and I'd be studying law, preparing to be a judge.
Now I got to ask you, since you are interested in law, what is it about law that interests you?
Just the injustice. As much injustice as we deal with, as much just certain things. I'll watch the news or like read an article, and I just be like certain things just don't even make sense. And I just want to be a part of those conversations. I want to be a part of those, like, change certain things. How can we like just make this better in this area? Like, just starting piece by piece at whatever it is. I definitely would just like to, I think even when I get older, like when I have kids and my kids decide to go back to college and I'm done performing and touring the world and I'm sitting down, I'm a mind stimulator. So I would love to get back into law and hopefully study law and still become a judge.
You mentioned that you're a songwriter, writing your music. Do you have a ghostwriter included? And what can you say about the recording aspect?
Songwriting, since I started writing music, because initially, before I was a singer, I was writing poetry. My grandmother was like really, really heavy on poetry, and I was raised as Jehovah's Witness. Our entertainment was reading, doing poetry, singing, stuff like that. That's what we did in our household. For me, being a poet and that just being so easy, when I realized I had a voice, I just started singing what I was writing on the paper. And I was like, wait, hold on. I'm writing a song. Okay, I see what's going on. Once I got in that groove, it was like, okay, I'm a songwriter. Like this is what I do now. So it took me such a long time to allow other songwriters to write for me. Even now, like I don't even allow that. Like for somebody to write a whole song and give me the song and I'm singing it. I don't even like that. I'm definitely with co-writing with people. Like we sit there and we write a song together. I love that, because I'm open to other people's ideas. I just have a problem with taking people's ideas and putting them on myself and saying that is me. I don't like that. And I just like want my own sauce in it, like my own vibe. I'm not opposed to working with other songwriters, but I am opposed to having a full-blown ghostwriter. The recording process, it varies depending on the song. If we're making something from scratch, if we're making something that, like I have a mini studio right here in my bedroom where I like have a bunch of ideas and I'll like record them and go to the studio and figure out exactly. So it really changes. I like to lay down the bass vocals and then go back when I'm done doing that and probably change some stuff, fix some vocals.
You've performed for lots of people, from Ashanti to Jadakiss to Megan Thee Stallion, Jamie Foxx, DJ Khaled.
That's a hard question. And I usually don't say that. It just dawned on me. I do things and then I push them to the back of my brain. And it's almost as if it never happened, because I'm looking for the next. It's been so many amazing moments and so many I pushed to the back of my brain. I couldn't even tell you.
Now, in performing, what goes into the factor of performing particular set or particular song?
Like if it's a charity event, it's certain songs I want. Kids event, particular, and how I come off.
In your career, what has been one of your favorite songs that you've wrote?
One song is My City. I initially wrote for Rihanna in 2016. The reason I feel like part of why the song wasn't used is because obviously she's from Barbados. The reason why I loved it so much was because it was really me. Like that was my first time really saying, okay, I'm locking in and I'm writing a project. Like I'm going in my songwriter bag and this is what I'm writing. All those years ago, up until now, that song sounds like a song that everybody's making right now. All right, I've been her. Like I've been it. I've been thinking the right way. So it's definitely one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And another song called Name, I made it. I went to Atlanta and I had a session with OG Parker and Mono. They like whipped out this beat. My body just started letting out melodies and words. Like it was just so easy to me. And now every time I listen to the song, it's like, damn, like this is fire. Like I remember how I felt when it was time for me to make it.
When you're performing, how do you see the balance of giving the crowd what they want and treating them to something new?
Every performance is new because it's a new day. So you never know how you're going to get on stage, what spin you're going to do, what notes you're going to do. You never really know. So it's a new show every time, as long as you're open to receiving the energy from the crowd. I go off of what the crowd is giving me. Like I said, you got to read the room and you can really pretty much tell what your audience wants. Like, do they want you to interact with them or do they just want you to stand there and sing to them? Do they want to just sing with you or do they want to see you running back and forth across stage? Like you really got to read the room and read yourself. I think a lot of artists, we forget what we want because our job is to please people. You got to see what mood you're in. Like, am I in the mood to do a Summer Walker bass show where I'm focused on my crowd and I'm singing to my crowd and this is what we're doing? Or do I want to have a Beyonce show where I'm going back and forth and I'm dancing and I'm flipping my hair and you got to see like what the energy is. So yeah, it varies.
And in your career, who would you say that you're mostly thankful for? And what can we expect from you in the near future?
I am most appreciative of my mom. My mom is my manager. She's also my stylist. She's also my road manager. She's pretty much everything. She does everything. You know, she's my mom. So the motivation from there is just like, all right, I got to give my mom the life that she literally took her life and said, okay, I'm going to put it over here and I'm going to have a kid and this is what I'm going to do for her. She gave her entire life to me to be able to do what I do for a living. So it means everything in the world, everything she's ever dreamed of having. And then just to see how hard she works amongst the team, like it's like she's just like here at her game all the time. And if she's not here at her game and she's MIA, she has somebody else in position who's on their game and doing what needs to be done, because I'm a bulldog in my own right. So I need somebody that's like, that can handle it. And my whole entire team though, Christy Clifford, Leslie, she does my PR. Leslie's amazing. Like, she's amazing. She doesn't even live here and she just makes sure my stuff is like taken care of and on point. Harrison, Wave. It's a whole team of us and everybody does their job. And that's all I could ask for. The next song after Options, Eat It Up. Very different because it's the more sexual side of me, the more sensual side of me, which I'm okay with because I'm a grown woman now. And the video is going to be amazing.
When you look at your future plans that you mentioned, what are the goals?
Of course, I have goals. Like, I want to be successful. I want to win awards. I want to, accomplish my first, second, third album. When I feel that feeling of accomplishment, I'm going to feel it. But I hate putting so much pressure on myself. Like, okay, you have to have a Grammy within the next 2 years. I don't like to do that to myself. So I'm just going to say my goal is to be internally happy with wherever I end up, whatever happens, whatever, 100% healthy. My friends and family be healthy and happy. The financial freedom to do whatever it is. Make music that touches people enough to listen and learn something when they hear a song. Like, oh, she was really expressive. Let me try that in my next conversation. That's the goal. I'm open and I'm ready. I'm willing. So
knowing what you know now in your career and knowing that you've had quite the success,
I pretty much walked into this very knowledgeable about what was going on. So it really wasn't like I was bumping my head too much. Like, I had the guidance and I also am very aware of things. I wish I didn't start my career with another person. Because I initially started singing, like, when I became like Vina Love and I was like really outside doing shows and stuff like that, which was my ex-boyfriend. The only reason why I wouldn't take it all back is because it obviously made me who I am. It like everything that comes with being in a relationship and having a career and trying to keep it private, but not be private because obviously you have a career. It was very difficult and I was very young. It definitely molded me in some ways. It makes you very, especially if it ends bad, it makes you very scared, just unsure about a lot of things, constantly rethinking things. It could be a good thing and a bad thing, but at the time it was such a bad thing because I wasn't letting myself flourish because I was so worried about what my partner was thinking. If I could go back and change anything, I would change my way of thinking during that situation. Separate myself more than I did. I can't change it and I can't say I regret it for the simple fact that I'm here now. It taught me a lot while trying to have a career. It taught me what not to do. Again,
you're having quite the success. I'm glad that we were able to get this interview here with a very special guest, Vina Love. Just want to say, thank you for this time and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.